Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is November. It's the first Friday in November, which is so exciting because November is National Adoptee Awareness Month. And if you've been following me for a while, or if you're new here, I am an adoptee and I love making videos specifically adoption related for this month. I make them sometimes during the year, but especially this month, I try to focus all my videos on adoption related topics. So I have a couple of fun videos lined up for this week, but today I am going to talk about a topic that I actually don't think I've ever talked about it before, and I don't think that it's a topic that is talked about a lot. But I recently went to Chicago. You can go see that vlog on my channel, and one of the workshops we were talking about was grief and aging parents, and that topic really resonated with me as someone who has a parent who is aging, and so I wanted to kind of make a video about it and talk about my thoughts on the workshop. So one of the things that I think about a lot when it comes to this topic is the fact that I do have a single mom and that my sister was recently diagnosed with a very terminal illness. And one of the questions that we were asked in the workshop is like, what comes up for you when you think of grief and aging parents? And when I think of grief and loss, I obviously think of how adoption starts with loss, loss of your first family, loss of your birth culture, if you're a transracial adoptee, an international adoptee. And I think back to when I lost my grandfather and how hard that was for me. I do feel lucky that I have not experienced a lot of close losses in terms of family members or friends, but I think definitely thinking about this topic, I honestly was, a lot of people were crying and teary-eyed in the workshop, and it was a little difficult for me to kind of process all my thoughts. But I think, when I thought of that question, what do you think of when you hear grief and aging parents, the first thing I think of is that I'm going to be alone. I guess I always thought that I would have my sister to go through the process of losing my mom and my grandma and, all of my relatives. And now there's a possibility that I won't. And I don't really know if I will or if I won't. And it's kind of hard for me to think about the fact that, 20, 30 years from now, I could be by myself. And that was really hard for me to think about in front of a lot of people that I had met the day before. So I didn't really talk much, but I think as I'm getting older and my mom's getting older, it is something that I've been thinking about a lot of what comes next and what the future holds. But it's definitely something that I wasn't thinking about until kind of becoming an adult. And I think a lot of adoptees do have older parents, whether it's you're their first kid and they just adopted late, or that you have biological siblings who are or biological to your parent siblings and they're grown adults, by the time you were adopted. I feel it's a topic that a lot of adoptees struggle with, but we don't really talk about it a lot. So I just kind of wanted to make this video to let people know that there are people thinking about it, and you're not alone if you are, figuring out how to navigate this new stage of life. And if anyone out there can relate to me, I know I met a couple people at the conference who were only children and had single parents, and what that is when you lose a parent. And so it's definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot more. Not that I want to be thinking about it, but it is gonna happen at some point. We all go through the cycle of life, and so I think it's just gonna be a lot to process when it actually happens. And when my grandfather died, I think it brought up a lot of abandonment issues for me. I was 10 at the time, so I will be older, but it's possible that those issues might come up again when it happens. It's hard thinking about potentially not having my sister to go through this experience with, and also what it would be like to lose my sister as well. Stop playing with the pen. Sorry, my cat is playing with the pen. Anyways, so that's definitely been a new change that I really didn't think I would ever have to talk about or think about. And I think it really shows you how important life is, and being able to make those little moments and those little memories with the people while you have them. But yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking about in terms of the workshop and the topic. And I know this video wasn't like super long, but if anyone out there has anything else to say about it, like I'd love to read about it in the comment section. I'm gonna make a post about it on my adoption account, so if you want to follow me there, you can find the Instagram link in my description. But otherwise, I appreciate you all listening, and I have some fun, well, more lighthearted topics for this month, including a Q&A. So if you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free to comment them and I will answer them in a future video. So yeah, that's it for today's video. So I will see you all next week.